Welcome to Python Coding episode 5, list manipulation and basic regex. Using regular expressions, we grab details from a file, web page, and create a list of entries. This is then used to automatically populate Kodi with the relevant video links and artwork. So essentially what we're creating here is we're going to create our very first playlist style add-on. Right, so what we've got up at the top on line 7, if we uncomment that line, so just take that hash out on line 7, and it should say import RE.
Yep.
Yeah, so what that is regex. That's the regex module.
Oh, okay.
So we can basically skim through a load of files and pull out the information that we want. So the plan is, what we're going to do is go through a text file, both a local text file and an online text file, and create a list, dynamically create a list of movies. So fingers crossed it should work.
Okay.
Now, line 10, 11, 12, if you uncomment those, and then I'll quickly go through what they do. So 10, we've got home equals. Now, this is a really useful function that you're probably going to end up using a lot, is xbmc.translatePath. Now, I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but I guess you probably already know what the special path is, do you? So special is kind of what
universal.
Yeah. It's like a universal path, if you like. It's sort of a mirror.
We use that in builds all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's something that Kodi knows what it is. If you're doing some sort of operating system command, it would have no idea what it is at all. So what we have to do is, if we're going to want to access a file in special home, basically it's not going to know what that means. If we use like the os command, os.read file or whatever we're going to do, it's going to think, what is special home? I've got absolutely no idea. So what we need to do is just do xbmc.translatePath with a capital P, and that will convert it into the actual physical path. So in my case, I mean, special home is actually the home folder of Kodi, the root folder. So if I find mine, so mine is sort of app data roaming Kodi. And what I've done is I've thrown two text files in there called regex1 and regex2. So if you've not put yours in there yet, if you could do that, that'd be great.
I'm done.
Fabulous. And for anyone watching on YouTube, just go to, I'll just show you on my screen, noobsandnerds.com/coding, and we've got the files up there. Okay, right, so line 11, so you can see we've got on line 11 we've got regex1. Now that's what we're doing there is os path join, and again this is another one that you're probably going to end up using quite a lot. Very useful function. So what that actually does is you can put in comma separated values in there, and it will join them all together and make it into a real path. So what we're saying there is, in the brackets we've got join home, where we can see above what home is. That's our Kodi folder. And then add to that path regex1.txt. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So when we call that variable, it knows where it's got to look for it, basically. It knows where it's got to scan for that file. The reason that is better than physically writing it out, so you could say, regex equals home and we could do something like, instead of using the OS path, if I just type it down here as an example, we could have regex1 equals home plus regex dot txt. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Just make it a bit bigger. Now that would work. We could use that. It's very hacky. It's not so good. The main reason being that certain operating systems use a backslash instead of a forward slash. Yeah. So what you'd find is, because we've used a normal, is that backslash, forward slash? Yeah, because we used a forward slash there. Some operating systems could have a problem with that, so it might not work on every platform. So it's always best to do the OS path join, and that will always add the relevant slash for that system that it's on. So I'm going to delete that line. We don't need that one I've just put in. So if you copied that, sorry. Okay, so that's our variables set up then, really. So we've got the import set up for regex. We've got our new variables set up, and let's scroll down a little bit. Right, this is quite a useful one. So that first bit that says week 5 read file function, if we uncomment line 27 to, oh, bugger, just deleted it. Yeah, uncomment that function, so 27 to 31 on mine. So, are you all there?
Yep.
Yep, good stuff, good stuff. So what we're telling that to do is read a file into memory. So a local file is going to open it up, it's going to read it all, and it's going to store the contents as a variable. You can store a hell of a lot in a variable, like thousands and thousands of lines of code. So just to run you through what each line does, I mean, it's reasonably straightforward, I think. So we've got a variable called read file on 28, line 28, and we're telling it that variable is equal to open. So that's a Python function, open, and then open brackets, file name, which is what we're going to grab from what we've passed through to this function when we call it. So what we're actually going to be doing in a minute is we're going to send it through the regex1.txt file. So it would open that, and the R in the little thing is there, quotation marks, just means we're opening it in read mode. So you can open things in read mode if you want to read them, or you can open them in write mode, which would just be a W if you want to write something to a file. We'll go into that in another episode, but the write one, it will actually overwrite the whole file. So it will create a new file and place in it whatever you want to write. If you wanted to add to a file, you would use A for append. That's the three main ones really that you're ever going to need, but mostly you're just going to need R for read. And then line 20, we're creating a variable called content, and as you might guess by the name, that is going to be the complete contents of that file. So we're telling it here that we want to call that read file variable that we just set up, and .read with open close brackets just means read it into memory. Okay, so that means we've got content stored as whatever is in this file, and whenever you open a file, whether it's read access, write access, whatever, you should always close it. You won't get any. It's unlikely you'll get any kind of errors if you don't close it. But what you will find is if you keep opening them and forget to closing them. I think this happened with. I think this is one of Mashup's big problems when that add-on started going downhill. I think he was forgetting to close files. He was having lots of memory problems. It was crashing and all that because it just left files open without closing them. So always get into the habit of closing it once you've opened it. And that's pretty much it for that function. And then return just tells it to return whatever we want to return. So we're going to return all of that content. Yep. Any questions with that for the minute?
Nope.
So it's open the file name, read the content.
Yep.
Close the file name, and then give her the results of what it's from.
Exactly. Yeah.
No?
That's it, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is it. Simple as that. Now this next function, the open URL function, we're going to leave that for now. So we'll leave that one commented. But line 43 will uncomment 43, 44, 45. And this is where it gets a little bit exciting. These 3 lines. This is where all the magic happens. So,
Calm down, Sean.
What?
Calm down.
I can't help it. I like this stuff.
right. So, line 43 is we're creating a variable called content. I know we've already got one up there, but it's not actually in use. The one in the read file one. We don't have to worry about that being called the same thing because it's that's assigned inside a function. So that's got nothing to do with the outside world of the add-on. That's only used when we call it.
So it's like you said yesterday. It's not a global variable.
Exactly. It's just
runs it and it's done with it.
You got it. Yep. So we're okay calling this content as well. That's fine. So what we're saying is content is, and then we just call that function. We're saying content is whatever that function returns. That's going to be what our content is. So as we can see there, we're calling that function read file, and we're sending it the regex1 variable, which is our global variable at the top. That text file. Then it's obviously going to send back the contents of that file. So what we'd do actually, just to make sure it's working, let's comment out those 2 lines below again. Sorry, the matches and the XBMC log. And just below your content equals read file, if we do xbmc.log quotation marks and just put something like contents string and content. Content. You see that okay?
All right, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted.
Okay, so if we try and run that now in Kodi, you're going to find an empty directory, I would imagine. But then if we look in the log, can you see the contents of that file?
Got the text file, yeah.
Yep. Fabulous. So we know it's pulled that perfectly. That's exactly what we need.
Okay, I ran it. It opened. There's nothing in it. Is that what it's supposed to do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then check the log.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I see it.
Yay. Fabulous. Right, so that's good. So it's good to keep putting log things in, print into the log, because you can always see whether or not it's working or not. Each bit you're doing,
Perfect.
it's perfect for
Yep.
regex type stuff. You need that a lot.
It's kind of like how meta works, isn't it? It's like you can see what like with meta when you're doing a player, when you can browse through the add-on.
Ah,
So you
yeah,
can
I've
see
still
what
not
meta's
created a
looking
player.
at.
You've got to show me how to do that.
It shows you what meta sees, so that's kind of what this log's doing.
Ah,
It's
cool.
showing us what
Yeah,
the codes say.
excellent. Right. Well, now you're all caught up and it's all working. I'm going to get you to type this next line in so it kind of sinks in a little bit, because this is the more complicated line. So if you create a new line there, move the matches one down, and what we're going to do is copy, not copy, but actually physically type it. Type that line that we've got on 46, and I'll go through it as we're doing it. So matches. So this is our variable. Equals, and we're going to call the regex module. So re dot, and then there's a function in there called compile. So we do compile, open brackets, and this really is where all the fun starts. So what we're going to do in this case is we're going to pull the name out. So we're going to pull out every instance of every name that's in there, and it's going to return it in a list. I know we've not really gone into lists yet, so we're going to that in a second. So what we need to do is look at that. I mean, you can check your log, or we could just check that file. I'm going to just check the log just to make sure this is what we need to type in. So have a look at these names in here, and we need something unique about each one. So not unique about each one, that everyone's got, every section has got. So it's, if you have a look at that log, every single one of them starts with name equals and a double quotation mark. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yep, brilliant. So that's good. We know that that doesn't exist anywhere else in this thing. It only exists for the names. So perfect. That's something unique that we can use to pull out. So we go back to our default Py. So what we want to look for is name equals double quotation marks, and this is the funky sort of regex bit. Now I'm terrible with regex. I'm constantly having to look on Google. There's loads and loads of regex sites on there that can give you all the commands that you need, but this one is pretty much, it's
Standard.
yeah. I mean, I use this one 99% of the time. There's not very often that I need other ones. What this does, so if we do after our little double quotes, it's only one double quote, by the way, not two of them. So it's one double quote, not two sets of double quotes. So we do
Because it adds two, doesn't it?
yeah.
I'll say that 5 times
No,
fast.
it did that for me, so I understood what you meant.
Right.
This all looks familiar to me.
So you do.
Yeah. You know what? The thing that Mucky gave us had this in it.
Yeah, probably.
Actually,
Plugin. That's where we used that before.
Ah, cool.
If you go on, there's a YouTube channel, The New Boston, which is Bucky's Room.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah.
It's where I've seen it. So if anybody wants to go and check that out, it's good.
Excellent. Yeah, that's well
And I
recommended.
saw it on the Voynich guide.
Yeah, that's also very good. So, this bit of regex here, what we're going to do is open brackets, dot plus question mark, close brackets. Like I say, you can Google that. Just Google regex or regular expressions, either of them. I mean, that's what it's short for. Regex is short for regular expressions, and it'll give you a whole list of what all these different bits and bobs mean. But essentially, what that little bit there means, so open brackets and then the dot plus question mark, means grab everything after name equals question mark, and then we just need to find something that it needs to stop out, a point that it needs to stop at, otherwise it'll just keep grabbing and grabbing and grabbing and won't ever stop. So just double check that log. What does it end with? Ends with another double quotation mark. So that's what we put in there. So we want to grab everything up to the next double quotation mark. Does that bit make sense?
Yep.
Great, brilliant. Okay, so we're finding. We've got the thing to say. Okay, we want to find that, but what we want to do is find every single one of them. So we do dot find all, open brackets, and we just need to tell it what file we're going to look in for that. So not file, which variable we're looking for that. So we're actually looking for it in that content one. Okay, so yeah, so that's going to grab everything. Should grab every name. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to make it we're going to make it error, I reckon. So let's do xbmc.log what we want is matches. Okay, so if we save that and then try running it, it should error. Yep. And then if we look at the log, the reason for the error is argument 1 must be a string, not a list. So let's go back to our default Py.
Alright, I see.
So what that's sending back to us is a whole list of comma separated values. So it's sending back every name. So I think we've got about 5 different names. So if we want to look at that in human readable form, just do str and then in brackets matches, and we're going to need to close that with a second bracket as well, because we've got 2 brackets open. Close it with 2 as well. And then if you save that and run that, it should hopefully work. It should hopefully give you an empty directory. You look at the log, and at the bottom,
should have all the names.
Yep. So you should have the square brackets to say that basically says it's a list. It's a Python list, and then you should have Earth in HD, Charlie Chaplin, the gorilla.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so it gives you like a little list of the names.
Brilliant. Now, lists are really, really useful. So I'm going to get rid of that. Actually, no. Hold on. We'll keep that. What we're going to do is get rid of the string. So go back to where it says xbmc.log matches. Yep. And now to access one of those items in the list, all you do is square brackets and you type the number that you want to pull out of that list. So the first one in the list is going to be 0. A list always starts at 0, just to confuse matters a little bit. So if you want, like, for example, the 3rd item in the list, you'll do number 2. So let's just try that. Let's try number 2, and that should just pull out the 3rd item in the list and print it.
Which is the gorilla.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. Excellent. Now, so we've worked out what a list is and how that works. Nice and pretty straightforward. Another thing we're going to want to do now is a for loop. Okay, so a for loop is basically it will loop through everything in a list and do whatever you want to that particular item. So in our example here, we're just going to loop through and print every single item in that list. So the way we do that is, let's get rid of that xbmc log matches. We don't actually need that now. So under line 45, so line 46, if we do for, the next item we use, the next word we use, it could say absolutely anything you want, but what we're going to do is just try and call it something that kind of makes sense. We're going to call it items. So for items in matches, and then a colon. What that actually means is for every item that we have in that matches list, do something with it. So we're going to say xbmc.log items. Do you know what? That probably should say item as opposed to items, because otherwise it sounds a bit confusing. So we change it on the for and in the thing. So the for thing, basically what that does, it assigns, it creates a variable called item for every single item in that list.
Yeah.
So, first time it runs, it's going to be the first one, then it'll be the second one, etc., etc. So if we try running that, save that, run that, it should hopefully print all the names one after the other in the log.
Yeah. 2, 3. Yes.
Fabulous. Right. Now, we're so close now. Right. So we've worked out how to do that, how to use a for loop and get a list. What we actually need to do now, though, is we need to grab everything out of that that document. Okay, so if we open up that document, I'm going to find that document. I'm just going to open it here so I can see what it is. If you can open that regex1 document, you'll notice that everything in that particular document is on a new line. So nothing is on the same line, it's all on a new line. Now when you want to find out a new line in your code, so after where it says name equals and you've got your little regex and you've got your trailing, double quotations, you need to put \n, and that means new line.
Alright, that's what that means.
Yeah.
I've seen it a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
You'll see people do this different ways. I don't usually do it this way, to be honest. But I thought I'd show you this way because it shows you what the \n is. Normally, what I would do is strip out any /n's when I'm converting it to content. So when I'm reading the file, I would normally I'd tell it to replace /n with nothing, and then it just puts everything on one big line. But it 6 and 2 threes, mate. It doesn't really matter. So anyway, in here, as we've not done that formatting, we've kept it as new lines. We need to say, right, now we need to look for a new line, and we now need to look for, what's the next thing? Path equals. So exactly the same as we've done with name. So path equals, and then dot plus question mark, close that, and close your double quotations, because we want everything between both the quotations. And then we do another new line, so \n, and we want thumb,
See where you're going with this.
Yeah, thumb equals, yeah, that. Don't forget your quotations. And finally, we want fan art. Fan art equals that, and don't forget your ending quotations. Okay, so what that should now bring up is, do you know what? We just make sure it is bringing up what we're hoping it does. So let's comment out that for statement there. So both those lines. And just below matches, we just print that to the log just to make sure that we are picking it up okay. So xbmc log, I'm going to do something like matches we try that. You got that, mate?
Got it.
Okay, I've just run mine, so I'm just going to check my log. Right, that looks a right mess. So to me,
It does.
to me that looks
Cool.
good. It's so what we've got there is we've got the opening brackets, and then because what it's doing, you see it's got the square brackets, and then it's got the round brackets.
Yeah.
What that's saying is, so this is actually a good thing because we've picked up done the regex like that. It's grouping them, so it's grouped all that as one.
It's one thing.
As one thing. So it's although it's kind of a list inside a list. So we've actually got sort of 5 lists in there of 5 different movies, but in those lists is like another list, if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was sort of comma separated list. So it gets slightly more confusing, but I mean that's basically how it works. So what we're going to do now is uncomment that for statement we just had. We're just going to need to edit that a little bit. So what that's now saying is for every item in that big long list that we've got there. Now, in that case, every item is going to be every group of items. Yeah, so it's going to be the first item that it's going to find is going to be this one here, that whole big group. You see that?
Yeah.
And then the next one it picks up is going to be the next one, wherever that goes to, over there somewhere. So that's good. That's picking that up. But because that's still a list, if we tried to print that as it is, it would fail because it's a list. So what we have to do is put in brackets. Let's do 0 at square brackets, that is.
Yep.
And then let's copy that and we'll just paste it 3 more times. So we've got 4 of them, and we do 0, 1, 2, 3. So what we're actually telling it to do there is okay, for every list you found inside that list, the matches list, we need you to print the first item in that list, the second item, the third item, and the fourth item.
All on separate lines.
All on separate lines. And actually, just to make it look a little bit neater, let's also do, after that last one, let's do xbmc log. We just put some dashes. so we can easily see it separated each time. So it's going to print name, path, thumb, fan art, and then a line, and then it should do the next one in the list. Okay?
Yep.
So let's give it a go. One way to find out.
Oh yeah.
Nice, yeah?
That looks a lot tidier.
Much tidier. So what that means now is we can easily pass those results through to our add directory, and we've basically got an add-on going already. So let's go back to our code. Instead of using xbmc log, let's kind of add. Let's create a variable. So instead of xbmc log, we will do what's the first one we got? Name equals item 0. We got path equals item 1. Thumb equals item 2. And item 3 was fan art. Equals item 3. Let's just space them out a bit better. And we can get rid of the log. Don't need that at all now. We know that was working. Oops. So we've turned all of those into a variable. But every time it runs through each instance of this until it's got to the end of the list, basically, so it's going to run through the first lot, then it's going to run through the second lot, etc., etc. So these are going to continually keep changing each of these values every time it runs. So we just need to do something with them before it changes the values of them. So we've still got that add directory command at the top, that function. I mean, fan art in this case is a little bit redundant because we've not set it up as fan art, but it doesn't matter. So what we're going to do is do add directory, open brackets. It's a capital D, by the way, for the add directory. So A double D lowercase big D, and we're passing through, what do we want? URL, title, icon. So URL would be path. What was it? Title and icon, name, and thumb. Got that?
Yep.
Marvellous. Right, save it and try running it. See what happens.
Okay, that's cool.
You got
Yeah,
it?
darn it.
We've got the list inside our thing.
Yeah.
I got error. Oh, wait a minute. It was just shock error, indentation error.
I thought you was eating, Shan.
Yeah, I was following along while I was eating. I just didn't want to listen to me chewing.
So
But it worked for me.
they should all be playable
That
as
is
well.
cool.
Yeah, see what's happened here.
Okay, that is really cool.
Yeah. So you can see now how easy it is to just knock up an add-on.
An XML, basically.
Yeah, an XML. I mean, the formatting we've used in that is very, very basic there. But yeah, you could do it in more of an XML format and still regex it, with proper tags and things like that.
Okay, cool. I'm trying it.
No,
So,
wait for me.
are you getting on?
Oh, I had indentation error. It had tabs instead of spaces. I don't know how that happened. It seems to be when you reopen Sublime, it doesn't keep what you last had.
Yeah, I've found that.
Do you know that little trick you do to change the indentation?
Yeah.
To spaces, yeah?
Yeah. So if you do view,
I've got it ticked, but it's not. It's still got them as
Yeah, go down to the second one from the bottom.
Convert.
Yeah, convert indentation to spaces.
Right, I see.
And then save it. Yep. Another thing I wanted to quickly show you, which actually I only realised earlier today when I was playing around, is I'm not really sure why you would do this, but it's handy to know, I think. Where we've got that add directory, so we've obviously put things in the order that they're supposed to be: path, name, thumb. Yeah, and in our add directory, that is the order it should be in. You've got the URL, the title, and the icon. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we could do, we could change the order of those, and it would still work. All you have to do is, so if I delete path, so if we do name, thumb, and path, what we need to do is just add the relevant parameter there. So, for example, what add directory is expecting is URL, title, and icon. So if we do title equals name in that add directory bit, what was it? Icon. Yeah. Icon equals thumb, and URL equals path. Now if you save that, it should, I think, still work.
It's good then, because then it doesn't matter what order you put it.
Yeah,
it still works.
So that's
cool.
Yeah, that's really, that's a nice little neat trick I picked up today. I didn't realise you could do that, so that's handy. And I think we're pretty much done. I just want to show you quickly also how to do it with an online file. Okay, so it's going to be very, very similar. So I've uploaded that file to well, let's put it in here as a variable at the top. We'll do regex online equals open your thingies, what are they called, quotation marks, and it's http://noobsandnerds.com/coding, thank you, /regex1.txt. Now, the thing is with an online file, you can't open it and read it with the same function that we used for the local file. It just won't work. The local file thing only works with local files. So what we're going to need to do is this bit that we've got commented out here, line 34. So line 35 to 41, the open URL, uncomment all that, and what we'll do is let's copy line 44, paste it below, and we'll comment out line 44. Might go back to that at a later date, and we'll do, instead of read file, what we want is open URL. Yeah, open URL regex1, and fingers crossed it should still work. So let's try saving that. I've not actually tested this, so that'd be interesting. Oh, I've got an error.
Me too.
Ah, okay, I see. I've forgot to put an import in. We need URL lib2, which is used in that open URL module in function. So it's
So does the oh yeah, so the log tells you what you
tells you what you're
module
missing.
you need.
Yep. So it's
Don't we have that already though up there?
we have
Part
URL
two.
lib.
Oh, there's a part 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's do you know what? It's quite confusing, but you actually do need both of them. You'd think that one would just replace the other, but that's not the case. You do actually need both.
Okay.
There's actually a better, well, so everyone keeps telling me, there's a much better system to use. You can import the requests module, which is supposed to be a lot easier to use. So at some point we'll have a look into that. But for now, we'll stick to the old-fashioned URL lib because I know that works. So save that, and let's see if that works.
Unknown URL.
Oh, got an error again. What have I forgotten now?
I got the same. It said unknown URL.
Unknown URL. Okay. Hold on. Unknown URL type. Ah, okay. Yeah, I see what I've done. Yeah. Right. Forgot to change that. So what it's doing, you see where we've got regex 1. That should actually be, what did we call it? I forgot what we called it now.
Online.
Regex online. Yeah. So we're
Yes. So it was looking for the local file.
Yeah. Alright. Third time lucky.
Mine open, but with nothing in it. You guys?
Yeah, same. Nothing, but it's all in the log.
Okay.
Because we've got read. Is it because we're telling it?
So we've got that. Let's see what so what's coming up in the log? It's all coming up, is it? Okay, I see what's happening here. Now, this happens on websites sometimes. They format them differently. Okay, so can you see the spacing on there? It's spaced out much different. So if we looked at the previous one, it was nice and neat. There was no spacing.
Oh yeah,
everything was all
couple
blocked.
Of spaces between.
Whereas this one,
each one.
So this is where regex can be a real pain in the arse. So the simplest way to get around this one, it really is. It's horrible. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. So the simplest thing to do is where we've got return link in that open URL. So line 41, we've got return link. What we can do, if we ever want to get rid of anything in a string, all we do is type dot replace open brackets, and we're going to tell it what we want to replace. So I'm actually going to replace \n. So that's all the new lines that you see in online files. So we do that, and then after the quotation mark you put a comma, and then just two quotation marks together, just to say basically we're replacing it with nothing, so just remove it completely. Another thing we're also going to want to replace a couple of others, so do another dot and replace, oops, that's not where my fingers should be on the keyboard. Replace \t, that's a tab. So we've replaced that with again nothing. And there is another one, my mind has gone blank. What's the other one that we quite often use?
Right? What was that? NT. What are they for? Line?
So we've got
N is for spaces.
No,
and T is tab.
N is a new line. Yeah, N is a new line.
New line, yes, sorry.
T
What's
is
T
tab.
stand for?
Tab.
Tab.
Okay.
And there's another one that I usually use, but my mind's gone blank. But we'll try that one, and I presume it's actually going to fail because we've still got these new lines in our regex down here. But we'll try it anyway, just see what happens. Be interesting to see how it prints it.
It looks a bit tighter on the log though.
Yeah.
Does it look better? Does it? Let's have a look.
It's like one space between each one now instead of 3.
Okay, that is looking better. Definitely looking better. What we need to do is, it's obviously that other thing that I'm forgetting. What is it we have to pull out there? 1 second, I can quickly find out in some of my code somewhere else. /R, what could that be? Anyway, whatever it is, I think that's what we need. Where have I gone? Up there. So dot replace /R with nothing. Okay, let's see what it prints to the log this time. Aha, that's better. Right, can you see in the log everything has now gone? All the weird sort of formatting. So we've got no new lines, it's all one big huge giant line of mess.
Like before.
Yeah, well, sort
Without
of.
the square bar.
Yeah. Basically we've got no new lines at all.
All bunched together.
All bunched together, which is great. I mean, it doesn't look nice, but it helps us in our code. It makes it much easier for us because we haven't got to worry about new lines in your regex and all that. So all you do, go to your regex down here, line 47, and get rid of every \n because we're not looking for the new lines now. And you should, with any luck, find that it's working. Yep, mine's working. How's yours?
Yeah, mine works.
Brilliant. And it looks like, yep, the links are playing as well. So we've actually now created a dynamic playlist add-on, if you like, I guess. I think there's one more thing we might as well do, as we've just about got time. It's only going to take a minute with any luck. You know, we was having those issues with the fan art. Yeah. How could we forget? Yeah. If you scroll down in your code, where is it? I've got week 6 there, so ignore that because for now, well, I say ignore it. We actually need something off of there. What we need is the line 91. It is on mine. The set property fan art image. So
hold on, can I have a look at what you're grabbing?
Copy that. Yep.
Not the right one. Li set property. Okay.
So
copy it?
Yeah, copy that. And if we put it, where are we? Where's our add directory? There we go. So we put it under the li equals list item. So we're going to set the property as fan art image. That's what we were struggling to find the other day. And we're going to set it as fan art. So we just need to add another variable up here called fan art in the add directory function in the brackets.
I'm good.
Right.
Yeah, okay, and then all we've got to do is change in our add directory. If we also do a comma, fan art equals, well, fan art we've called it. As you can see, we've called the line above, we've got fan art there, we're pulling it out of the list, we've called it fan art. So that should hopefully add fan art. One way to find out, isn't there?
Yeah. Excellent.
You got fan art, have you? Maybe mine's just being slow. Oh, there it is. Yep. I've got it. Brilliant.
Nice.
Sweet.
Lee, that that you were wondering what it was. Just been googling it. I think it's raw string. That's what it is.
Oh, is it? Row string.
Raw.
Right.
Drawstring?
Oh.
What? Raw.
I have no idea.
I can't say it in like any other accent.
Spell it.
R-A-W.
Oh, raw. Right. Okay.
Oh God.
Raw.
Brilliant.
Just cut that whole bit out.
Oh God.
I'm sure that's what it means. That's what it says on Stack Overflow.
Oh, cool. Excellent. Well, that was whatever was causing the issue then. Yeah. I mean, I think you guys are familiar with this already, but when you want to look and see what a web page looks like, if you actually go to the web page,
Right click.
yeah, exactly. I was going to try and share my screen, but I can't work out how to do it. Click on so we'll do the regex 1, for example. Right click and just do view page source. That's presuming you're in Chrome. If you're using Firefox, that's got something as well similar, and that shows you how it physically looks as a source file.
Sorry. Oh, actually, I've just found it.
I mean that particular page there, it is just a text file that I've uploaded. So I mean that is quite straightforward, and that doesn't look how our log printed it. So you don't always get the exact, the exact things as what you're expecting. So that's where the logging always comes in handy. If you stick it in the log, you can see exactly what Cody thinks it looks like.
And you get
Cool.
you can get the whole HTML by doing inspect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if
That's just for like if you needed before when you needed something unique, when you got a name. And I was talking about class. Or some sites have like class as the link or the name or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're doing your regex.
Yeah.
I know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. If you look on line 36, it is on mine, where it says define open URL.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, okay. So, because we didn't actually explain what this function does. So, we've got a variable called req, and we're saying, okay, open up the URL lib2 module and open the request function. So that kind of grabs a URL. Yeah, that'll open up a URL. The line below that, add header. Now that's optional. You don't have to do that. What a header is a lot of websites will only allow access to certain web browsers. So in here we're basically telling Kodi to spoof being a web browser. So you can see it's got
Cool.
user agent. User agent basically another word for the header. And then we're telling it Mozilla, which is like Firefox, Chrome we've got in there, Safari, we've got all the big ones. So it pretty much covers all the bases. If we didn't put that in, this would try and access the site as Python. it would just come through with the header as Python, and a lot of websites block that.
Because they know it's Cody.
No, not necessarily. I think Python's been used before a lot for DOS attacks and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, So they always loads of sites block that, and if they're Cloudflared, there's a very good chance they've blocked it, because Cloudflare's got a function you can enable, well, it's enabled by default actually. I think it's called something like browser integrity check. If that's on, then then you're a bit screwed.
Okay.
There are ways around it. You can change the headers and stuff, but you might run into troubles. Line 39 is actually telling us to. So that's got a variable saying response, and that's just saying open that variable we set up there, which is opening the URL. Yeah, just like we did with that file, the local file, when we opened it and read it. So line 40, it's saying response, which is that variable there. Read it. So again, very very similar to our read one for the local file, and then we close it again. So because we don't want it in the memory, and then we just return it, and then we've got those replace commands just to tidy it all up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Not that you're really going to need to know that, but I figured I might as well tell you while we're here. But the user agent bit, that is useful, and you might find that useful yourselves at some point. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings to a close episode number 5. Make sure you join us next time in episode 6 when we go through how to create directories. So next week's episode is probably the most complex so far. We learn how to create directories from scratch. The sys.argv command is also covered here. Now essentially what that means is next week we're going to be using what we've learnt in last episode, episode 4. You can combine that with this episode obviously, and we're just going to actually create proper directory structures. So after next week's lesson, you should be able to quite simply create your very own fully functional add-on, playlist type add-on with directory structures and everything, all from scratch. So happy coding, and if you have any questions, please remember to head over to noobsandnerds.com, where we'll be happy to help out. Okay, thanks for watching guys, and we'll catch up soon.